Buddy, this is shit. It's not perfect. It's fucking tilted. Okay, no, this is terrible. Sorry. Pretty decent. What's that right there? What's that? It's indented. Yo, PSA 10? That's cap. What the gosh darn is this? There's an L. It is indented in. It's cooked. So that one is straight at the top. That one is cooked. It is crooked a little bit. Sorry, check guys. I debunked it. 16.1 mil.
Like looking at the back.
Is there no names or anything on this? Interesting.
Not too long ago, I broke down how Logan Paul ended up in deep trouble again, and this time it was with the Pokemon and trading card crowd. Back in 2022, Logan didn't just dabble in Pokemon cards, he went absolutely all in. He wasn't opening packs for fun anymore. He was flexing hard, spending millions on ultra-rare cards and sealed boxes like it was pocket change. He had the grails, the exclusives, the stuff collectors dream about. But then, boom, he got scammed, and that's when the whole thing really started getting messy. So after that chaos, Logan teamed up with a group of investors and dropped something new called Liquid Marketplace. The idea sounded futuristic, almost too good to be true. It was a place where people could buy fractional shares of physical collectibles, like trading cards, sneakers, or sports memorabilia.
What's up, y'all? Logan here. As an avid collector and strategic investor myself, I am so stoked to announce the launch of Liquid Marketplace, a platform where collectors can buy and sell fractions of rare collectibles via tokens on the blockchain. As a co-founder of Liquid Marketplace, I believe we're set to level the playing field by allowing anyone to own a piece of the world's rarest collectibles and build their portfolios instantly. Here's how it works. Liquid Marketplace will curate a collection of highly sought-after items available in our ecosystem where users can buy in to be a partial owner. We'll keep the collectibles safe in our Liquid Marketplace vault, and when you're ready, you can buy, sell, and trade your portion of ownership with other members.
You didn't need to buy the whole item, just a slice of it. And supposedly, the blockchain was running everything behind the curtain to make it all look secure and high-tech. But here's where things got crazy. Logan planned to sell 51% ownership of one of the rarest Pokemon cards on the planet, the PSA 10 Pikachu Illustrator. That card isn't just rare, it's legendary. Perfect grade, flawless condition, and worth a mind-blowing amount of money. Fans were told they could literally own a piece of Pokemon history, and that's when everyone started paying attention.
I will be listing this card on a platform that I co-founded called Liquid Marketplace. It allows co-ownership of top-tier assets. So instead of one person, me owning this card, we as a collective can co-own it together. I'll be retaining 49% ownership of the card. So I won't actually have access to it. It'll be in our vault. But if I want to wear it out to fights or a Pokemon box break, or maybe even put it in a museum one day, the community can just...
Fast forward a few years and boom, Liquid Marketplace basically fell apart. The whole thing crumbled. Lawsuits started popping up, complaints were piling high, and from the outside, it looked like Logan was slowly slipping away from the mess he helped create. The once hyped project had turned into pure chaos. Then, out of nowhere, Logan jumped on Twitter in 2024 and claimed he repurchased the fractionally owned portion of the Pikachu Illustrator. He said it was all done according to the original agreement terms, like everything was totally fine. But fans weren't buying that. After that post, he started talking about Liquid Marketplace like he barely had anything to do with it, which blew everyone's minds, because he was literally the face of that brand. He was the front man, the hype machine, the guy plastered all over every promo.
Now you can just buy a token on Liquid Marketplace to own high-value, top-tier assets that you cannot get anywhere else.
And that's what made people furious when he suddenly announced he was teaming up with Ken Golden. Yeah, the guy from Netflix's King of Collectibles. Together, they plan to auction off that same Pikachu Illustrator under a reported deal where Logan would get a fat advance plus a cut from the final sale. That's when the internet exploded with questions. People started demanding answers. What happened to the fractional owners? Where's the money from the investors who thought they owned part of that card? Others in the Pokemon community, like Rattle Pokemon on YouTube, came out swinging. He said that card shouldn't have even been graded a PSA 10 in the first place. He claimed there were serious issues with the grading, and even suggested the card might have even been resubmitted multiple times until it finally landed that perfect grade that gave it its legendary rep.
Have a high-profile item, an expensive item such as the PSA 10 Illustrator that was a 9 several times before it got a 10. That is not the case, even though this thing clearly is not a 10.
As you can probably guess, the Pokemon community was not impressed by any of this. The trust was already gone. Before the auction even wrapped up, Logan tried to smooth things over by posting an update saying that Liquid Marketplace had finally released unclaimed funds, and users could now withdraw their money. He even dropped a link to the site which had been offline for ages, like it was all fixed overnight. Supposedly, former users could log back in and get their money back. But here's the real twist. It doesn't even seem like those investors ever truly owned the physical Pikachu illustrator the way many believed they did. It was all digital shares, and the ownership was way murkier than anyone expected. Meanwhile, over the last month, Logan went all in on promoting the auction. We're talking full-blown production, high-energy clips, flashy edits, and over-the-top flexing. To be fair, marketing is his game. He knows exactly how to stir attention and turn controversy into clicks. But there's another side to it. He's got a habit of blocking anyone who calls him out. On one of his now deleted posts, he got all sentimental and wrote, "Goodbye, my friends. What a privilege it's been to be the owner of the greatest collectible in the world." Then he added how the card had been with him through everything, from Guinness World Records to WWE debuts, Netflix features, and national headlines. He said, tomorrow night she finds a new home on Golden Auctions. But when someone commented, Liquid Fraction owners remember they once co-owned this Pikachu card, Logan blocked them instantly. That's been the whole vibe. Loud celebration on the outside, total silence for the critics underneath. Comments turned off, feeds wiped clean, and no space for anyone to question what was really happening. Everything looked polished and perfect until auction night finally hit.
On the illustrator, $12,400,000.
No way! No way! No way! What? No way! No way, bro! No way! No way, bro!
One more bid's a new record all time. 12.5 million.
No way, bro! Ken's whole team. I think they did it.
We now have the record. The most expensive trading card of all time. $13 million. 20,000.
Then, boom, someone dropped a $12.5 million bid. Logan's reaction was pure shock. Eyes wide, jaw dropped. He kept repeating, "No way, bro, no way," like he couldn't even believe the number himself. And just like that, the Pikachu Illustrator card made history, setting a brand new world record as the most expensive card ever sold at auction. It even beat the previous Kobe Bryant record. Huge moment, wild headline, unreal flex.
Paul,
Logan, you get it.
Ken Golden,
Yes.
tonight you sold the PSA 10 Pikachu Illustrator card for $16,492,000. On behalf of Guinness World Records, I can now confirm you have achieved a new record title for not only for the most expensive Pokemon card ever sold at auction, but also the overall record for the most expensive trading card ever sold at auction.
But here's the uncomfortable truth. While Logan was out there breaking records and celebrating, the original investors, the ones who thought they owned part of that card, were just now being told they could finally withdraw their funds after all these years. Sounds fair, right? Not exactly. Because what about inflation? What about the lost time and opportunity cost? That money sat frozen for years. It couldn't grow, it couldn't be used, it couldn't help if someone needed it for rent or emergencies. Some people might have needed that cash when times were hard, but it was locked away while the card's value skyrocketed.
Logan and his gang went around the world in 80 days to everyone who's a Saudi prince and all these Saudi guys and told them how this is the new thing and everyone should be collecting this and this is art. And they told them all to invest in Pokemon cards. And they are destroying the market. And he's making this an impossible hobby to get into now. Who wants to buy a $150,000 Mewtwo?
So yeah, Logan secured the bag and the headlines looked legendary, but for a lot of people watching this go down, it didn't feel like a victory lap at all. It felt like getting left behind while someone else cashed in big. The whole thing just feels messy. It feels unfinished, And it definitely left a bad taste in the mouths of collectors who truly thought they were part of something bigger. Some of them might have hit rough times, maybe really needed that money back. But instead, they had to watch from the sidelines while Logan was out here breaking world records, champagne popping, confetti flying like cameras were a Hollywood premiere. I'll be real, getting older makes you see things differently. You start realizing that sometimes bad behavior doesn't get punished. Sometimes the loudest one in the room still walks away with the biggest paycheck.
Are you just gonna walk out with the car tonight?
I can't. No,
No,
that's for me. I'm gonna probably store it here in Canada a little bit to figure out the right place to put it.
And during that auction, when the bidding shot up to $16.5 million, the energy was electric. You could feel the tension. Cameras zoomed in, the crowd buzzed, and then, boom, they brought the winning bidder up on stage like it was a championship ceremony. It was wild. These weren't regular folks either. These were people with more money than they could ever spend in 10 lifetimes. We're talking serious generational wealth, the kind of money that keeps families rich forever. Yet, somehow, the hunger never fades. It's always about more. More headlines, more spotlight, more dominance. And in that moment, as the lights flashed and the cheers went up, it honestly looked less like a card auction and more like two rich brothers celebrating another massive flex. Because when you're the one cashing the check, all the noise, all the critics, all the controversy, it suddenly stops mattering. One of the buyers showed up in a Pokemon onesie, casually chatting about being a film director, like dropping $16.5 million on a card was just another Tuesday. Meanwhile, Logan looked absolutely thrilled. Of course he did. Someone had just handed him a life-changing amount of money for a single piece of cardboard. Who wouldn't be grinning from ear to ear? But let's be honest, there's nothing groundbreaking about spending inherited wealth at an auction. That's not innovation, that's luxury spending turned up to max. And you can't tell me that whole scene wasn't staged for the drama. Everything about it felt cinematic. The slow, ceremonial handoff, Logan passing the card over like it was some sacred relic from a forgotten civilization. Then came the champagne popping, the applause roaring, and the cameras flashing non-stop. In the background, Ken Golden was hyping it up like it was the greatest moment in collectible history. It was all performance, all showmanship. Then, boom, another Guinness World Record was announced, handed over like a trophy, sealing the spectacle. But while the rich and famous were celebrating under the bright lights, the original fractional investors were just being told, hey, you can log in now and withdraw your funds. Cool, sure, but it's been years. The timing couldn't have felt more hollow. And just when everyone thought the drama was over, Logan pulled out one more surprise during the same live stream. He unveiled his newest venture, and honestly, it sounded very familiar. It's being pitched as the future of collecting, offering VIP access, digital rip packs tied to real graded cards, and instant selling for cash. Deja vu, anyone? It felt like Liquid Marketplace 2.0 with a fresh coat of hype and the same old playbook. You can store the cards in vaults, ship them home, or just access them digitally. It's that whole digital meets physical pitch all over again. Sound familiar? It should, because this new project feels like fractional ownership 2.0. Same idea, just dressed up with a shinier logo and some new buzzwords. They even added a leaderboard system to gamify the whole thing. Users can compete, climb ranks, unlock rewards, and bring in friends to level up faster. The more people you invite, the higher you rise. First, you join the waitlist. Then you start inviting others. Then you unlock bonuses. It's all built around referrals and rankings. And while nobody's saying it directly, the structure is looking a little triangular. Each confirmed referral boosts your spot on the board. Suddenly, collecting turns into a full-on social competition, a flashy flex for clout. You invite more friends, show off your position, and flaunt how massive your digital collection is. You log in, rip virtual packs, and chase cards from Logan's personal collection, which, if you remember, didn't exactly end smoothly the last time around, depending on who you ask. Now, I'm not saying this new platform is exactly the same as Liquid Marketplace, but let's be real. The vibes are way too familiar. When a new idea looks like a sequel to something that already collapsed under lawsuits, controversy, and broken trust, people are definitely going to question it. And honestly, that skepticism isn't coming out of nowhere. It's completely earned. This whole situation didn't just pop up out of nowhere, it's the direct sequel to a storyline everyone already saw play out. So if anyone decides to jump into a system like this after everything that's happened, no one should be surprised if things go sideways again. The track record's right there, out in the open. Even younger fans or anyone with access to a parent's credit card should probably pause, take a breath, and really think twice before diving in. To be fair, Logan and his team are working non-stop. The marketing looks slick, the rollout is flashy, the energy's through the roof. But man, the timing feels totally tone-deaf. It's like watching someone throw a victory parade while their former teammates are still waiting to get paid their share of the prize money. The celebration feels loud, but the silence from those left behind says a lot louder. Then, this morning, Logan tried to clear the air. He posted about how the auction night was historic, giving thanks to the Pokemon community, Ken Golden, and his whole crew. Fair enough, it was a record-breaking moment. But then he dropped some clarification that had everyone talking again. He said that while up to 51% of the Illustrator card was offered through Liquid Marketplace, only 5.4% was actually sold, totaling around $270,000 back in 2022. According to Logan, in May 2024, he repurchased that 5.4% at the same price under the platform's official terms and made those funds available for withdrawal. Sounds neat and tidy on paper, right? And sure, 5.4% doesn't sound as wild as that original 51% ownership headline that blew up the internet. But here's the thing, paperwork can be technically correct and still feel off. Because that card just sold for $16.5 million. When something skyrockets in value like that, people's expectations shift fast. Even if everything checks out legally, emotionally, it still feels unfair. And that's the tension that keeps fueling this whole storm. The optics flipped instantly. The moment people saw that $16.5 million headline, everything changed. It didn't matter what the contract said, fans and collectors started thinking the early investors deserved to share in the upside, not just get their old money back like nothing ever happened. Because let's be real, if someone dropped $10,000 back in 2022 and that card's value exploded several times over, it feels fair that they'd see at least some of that growth. Sure, legally, Logan might not have owed them more than their buyback amount, but morally? That's where the whole debate gets fiery. Logan claimed that after the buyback, users had about a year to withdraw their funds, and a lot of them actually did. But then the Liquid Marketplace website reportedly went offline for reasons outside his control. And once Logan realized users couldn't access their withdrawals, he says he personally stepped in, paid out of pocket, and got the site restored so people could finally access their money again. According to him, emails went out and everything's back up, with funds available for withdrawal now. So how do you see it? On one hand, if only 5.4% of the card was actually sold and Logan bought it back at the original price, technically that paints a different picture than what everyone thought when 51% ownership was making headlines. But on the other hand, once that multi-million-dollar sale made global news, emotions shifted hard. Because from a community perspective, those early supporters were the ones who helped build the hype around that card in the first place. They made it a spectacle. And when the card hit historic value, a lot of people felt like those same believers were left behind without sharing in the reward. And let's not forget, this wasn't just about one card. Thousands of collectibles reportedly passed through Liquid Marketplace, so this whole thing cuts deeper. It's about trust, transparency, and patterns that keep repeating. If Logan genuinely wanted to close this chapter once and for all, the cleanest, boldest move would be simple: voluntarily giving a small portion of that profit back to the original 5.4% investors based on how much the card's value skyrocketed. That kind of gesture wouldn't just end the debate, it might actually restore some faith in his name. Would it cost him a few million to make things right? Yeah, probably. But would that move completely flip the whole narrative? Absolutely. It's not required, but it would be powerful. It would show accountability, something fans haven't seen much of in this whole saga. So now I've got to ask, what do you think? Did Logan handle the buyback fairly, following the original terms like he claimed? Or do you believe those early investors should have shared a piece of that massive $16.5 million payday after the historic sale? Because that's the real question everyone's still arguing about. Drop your thoughts in the comments. I want to hear every opinion. And if you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more breakdowns just like this one. Hit that notification bell, drop your comment down below, and I'll catch you in the next one.